Guys, if you've been a fan of my channel for a while, you know the love that I have for Ridge. Our collaboration with Ridge has been an awesome union, which has turned into a great friendship. So it should be no surprise that Ridge has leveled up once again. The best wallet that you can buy just got a little bit better. Ridge is now offering a limited edition Bad Guy Ink wallet. If you haven't tried the Ridge wallet yet, now's the time for you to change your pocket game. The Ridge wallet, it's light, sleek, industrial, and is now Bad Guy Ink inspired. Guys, it's a game changer. You're gonna love it. But if you don't, there is a 90-day free trial. These official Bad Guy Ink wallets are limited. Only 1,000 wallets will be made, and a percentage of the sales will go to Hire Heroes USA, an organization that helps military members, veterans, and military spouses to find new careers. So go to ridge.com to order yours today. Make sure you use the promo code Chael to get this special deal. Gamebred Boxing. Did you guys watch this over the weekend? I thought they did a great job in a number of different areas. Just getting the distribution and all the different options and platforms is a colossally amount of work. There wasn't a ton of time or a ton of resources left over to then come and tell the world that you did it, but everything's got a balance, right? Everything's got a balance. And anybody that was really a hardcore fan, we knew about this. So you're going to have Pettis versus Roy Jones. That's the main event. But there was a fight on there that just had to happen. Jacare versus Vitor Belfort. That fight had to happen. That fight, over the last 10 years, is one of those where you look back and go, how did that get away from us? How have these two never locked up? Even just from the jiu-jitsu worlds of being from Brazil, both going to Abu Dhabi, I would think at the same weight class, right? I mean, maybe I'm going in a different direction here, but I think you can agree with me. The fact that those two finally got a hold of each other needed to happen, and it was great, by the way. Of everything that happened on that card, though, there was two things that really stood out for me, and it was very serendipitous. Like, these were not supposed to happen. Let's start with Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor renewing their beef. And the reason this stood out, did you guys see this? Conor makes a comment, Jose Aldo gets asked about it. Jose goes nuts. He blew his top. It seemed like just a perfect storm of a situation where Jose was not in the best mood to begin with. And I think that he misunderstood what Conor had said. I don't think what Conor said was bad. I don't think it was ever meant to be bad. Jose blows his top, right? And these two, at least for public appearances, have made as though they've made up and they've shaken his hand and everybody's chummy. And this was a while ago. And this was a good year ago that Jose came out and was talking about Conor, talking about that experience, and talking about the fact that he finally understood why Conor did and what Conor did and how that was the business side of it. It just looked like everything was smoothed over, and Jose loses his top. Well, then Conor's got to fire back, and I think that Conor was also surprised. I think there was a misunderstanding there. Either way, let's stay on what Jose Aldo said, because Jose got asked about Francis Ngannou. And Jose said, and you guys might have seen this, but I will quote, Francis Ngannou shot himself in the foot leaving the UFC to go to boxing. Now, the reporter that wrote this down somehow did not understand what Jose had just said or why it was so relevant. I then read this on the dirt sheets I go to, and they got a comment section, and nobody in the comment section seemed to understand what Jose said or why it was so relevant. Now, let me say it for you again. Jose Aldo talking about Francis Ngannou, and this is while Jose's out of boxing card. He's getting ready to box. A big name and a beautiful placement. I think they were the co-main event. I think they were the co-main, not Vitor Jacare. Just by example, this was a real opportunity. They were throwing some real money around to this. So you have Jose that's actually doing it. Jose left the UFC to go box. Jose Aldo was not cut, if you guys will remember. Andre Pettis, it might have been looking like things were on the line over there. But either way, he was not cut. Andre Pettis went to the UFC and said, could we please have his release? He has an opportunity to pursue boxing. He's still at the age with the right hunger and the right condition. We'd like to do it now. We'd like to do it sooner than later. And the UFC said yes. Now, that's why it's so relevant. Jose Aldo just said that Francis Ngannou should not have done the exact thing that Jose just did. I mean, if there's anybody that would know, can we agree? If there's anybody that would, it was a guy that's actually getting an opportunity in a co-main event spot for a whole bunch of money on pay-per-view against a meaningful name in Jeremy Stephens. With all of those things present, Jose still said it was a mistake. I'd like to know why. And the reporter didn't follow up. The reporter didn't follow up, and I believe it's because his brain didn't work fast enough to realize this is coming from a guy who's doing the exact same thing. I think he should have asked him, why? Why do you believe it's a mistake? What is it that you've uncovered? What experiences did you have as champion of the UFC versus free agent who raised his hand and said, I've never boxed before, but I'd like to? It would have been a very compelling answer. Because it seems as though all of us, right? I don't know that I've ran into one person that thinks Francis Ngannou made the right decision. I don't know that I've seen that person. However, we're not far enough along to know that he didn't. I mean, at this point, we are just hedging bets. We're just making predictions. We're going to need a period of time, which is probably going to be called 2024. If we're at this point a year from now, yeah, it was botched. It was a massive mistake. But we might not be. Something that will be very compelling for me is if Francis returns to MMA. That one's going to be very compelling. And there is no MMA organization out there that can pay him what he was already offered at the UFC. Now, while paying him less, they could give him a contract that he liked, which had a carve-out so he can go and make up a sport with Fury. And maybe that's what's really important to him. I'm just sharing with you, I haven't seen anybody yet, and this even came from Jose Aldo, who is in the exact same spot, was with the exact same company, asked for the exact same release to go and do this exact same thing, and at his own press conference, for a fight that paid him a bunch of money and was only a day away, he said it's a bad move. He said he shot himself in the foot. I would just like to hear more why. I got a call over the weekend telling me it was a done deal. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, Wembley in May, right around the corner, in May. I was told this was done, but I told my source, hey, check a calendar. That sounds like some residue left over from an April Fool's joke. You had a number of fighters doing this. It was so embarrassing. I was so embarrassed for these guys. Like, if you're a fighter, you got a good, healthy ego, and you are for sure a narcissist. I mean, you just would be. Guys that don't want a team, they don't want a sport, they want to do it all on their own. They sound like it's courage. They're a narcissist. That's okay. It's okay. But guys that can't hide it, like, I'll tell you one. I mean, it was truly uncomfortable. Frank Bruno, do you guys remember him? Frank Bruno is the guy, one of many guys. Bruce Seldon, Frank Bruno, like these guys came right along, that pretended to be knocked out by Mike Tyson. Frank was a British fighter, and he was big, and he was beautiful. He said all the right things at a press conference, took some punches that did not land, and went down until the referee caught the 10. And I would tell you more about Frank if I knew more about Frank. The day I heard of him was the day that he got Mike Tyson. I saw him do one fight. He threw it. Guys, I was in college. This was 97? 96? Frank, he comes out on April Fool's and tells the world he's in training. He's accepted a fight with Jake Paul. And people wrote the story. They believed that it was true. I mean, just so you understand. I mean, if there's ever a time that you're looking for attention, we had other guys do it. I'm not going to name them. It was embarrassing. Guys acting as though they were going to go and compete in something, get the whole world excited, and then they go, I'm just kidding. It's an April Fool's joke. You don't actually get to see me perform. Now they've just made a fool of the whole. Like, who are we laughing at here? Are you laughing at that event? You're above it? Is that why it was a joke? You're above going and doing this event? You're too cool for this event? Like, what part is the joke? And I'm only telling you that because that did catch a little bit of waves. If you guys saw that out there, if Francis and Tyson and they got it worked out, and I know that Ukrainian with the weird voice, he appears to be pushed to the side, so there's some things that look to open up, and May's right around the corner. I think it's an April Fool's joke. I can't imagine that a secret kept that well would surface with the anonymity of a screen name, and by the way, on the first day of April. So, I think Jose, final analysis, I think Jose misunderstood Conor McGregor, and I think that Jose should have been asked the follow-up question, since what he described for Francis was exactly the path that he himself is on.